Welcome, everyone. I am Serena Shadeen, the Executive Director at the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined here with Blaine Stephan, the owner of Guardian Plumbing and Heating. So, Blaine, please tell me a little bit about what you guys do at Guardian.
Yeah, we are a full-service plumbing and heating company. We do everything from plumbing, HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, gas fitting, drain cleaning, spray foam insulation, and we just love to solve problems. So we're a little bit inventive, and we try to solve problems for people and come up with new solutions.
Okay, so if there are any students out there interested in getting into your line of work, the trades, tell me a little bit about your education and what kind of certifications you have.
Yeah, so I have my grade 12 education. It's not mandatory to have that to be an apprentice, but they recommend it, and you will have an easier time if you have the grade 12 or a GED of some sort. The neat thing about the apprenticeship program is they really work hard to get everybody in that they can. So if you don't have that, it's just a matter of having a conversation, and they will do whatever they can to help you succeed through that course. From there, I have my Red Seal Interprovincial Plumbing ticket. That allows me to work anywhere in Canada. I can work across borders. It's recognized across Canada. That's what the Red Seal portion means in the interprovincial. I also have my commercial gas ticket license. And that, when you become a plumber, you get your domestic gas ticket is part of the course. You still have to pass the test. And there was a separate test to get the commercial, which allows you to work on anything over 400,000 BTUs. So it's the big stuff. It's anything out of a home. You're not going to see over 400,000 BTUs typically in a standard home. And I took the extra exam so that there really was no limit to what I could work on or pull a permit for in our industry. And basically that's the two certifications that I ended up with. They kind of call it being dual ticketed, and most plumbers work towards those two certifications when they go.
So how long does the education and training take? So how many years is it for an apprentice, journeyman to get your Red Seal? Is this something you go to schooling for and you do this all in one hop, or do you do it over the years and build up for it? How does that work? Yeah,
so typically the apprenticeship starts when you find a company that's willing to take you on as an apprentice. You make an agreement with that company that you're going to work with them, sign up an apprenticeship contract, and it takes 4 years from the time you start. Typically, you'll start working, you get about a year's worth of hours in, then you'll get called up to go to school. And school, depending on whether you're going to Saskatchewan or Alberta, the first 2 years are always the same. It's 8 weeks of in-school training. In Saskatchewan, they reduce it down to 7 weeks for the last two, and Alberta maintains the 8 weeks for the entire 4-year program. And so you end up only going to school for those 2 months out of the year, and for the rest of the time you work. And I believe it's 7,200 hours is what you need to have of time that you're actually on the job training. So it's really awesome, because at the end of the day, you end up getting to work your way through school, and it does take 4 years. And the big thing is that you get to work alongside somebody who's been in the trade for at least 4 years, and you get to glean from their knowledge and their experience, and you get to learn from their mistakes and be able to grow through that. You wouldn't want to do it any less than that. Guys come into it and they're like, oh, I'm gonna try to go to school 2 times in a row and get through that. It's just not worth it. The experience is really the valuable part. The schooling kind of validates the things you learn when you're on the tools. When you're out there working, you get that knowledge, you get to experience the different parts. And then when you go to school, it's like, oh, that's why I do it that way. Oh, that's the reason for this. So school is valuable, but it's the on-the-job training. If you have a really good journeyman, you will learn way more at that point, and then you just get to confirm the things you've learned once you head to school. So
Yeah, all the experience makes the schooling part easy.
That's right.
So some employers, I feel like I've heard that some employers, do they pay for then your schooling piece? Does that vary? How does that work?
Yeah, so some companies will pay your tuition. It's pretty minimal, the amounts. Some have things set up where they will reimburse you once you stay with them for a year after your journeyman. They'll have little promotions like that to help retain employees. It based on what your agreement is with your employer. The neat thing is, though, is that you do get unemployment while you're at school. So you worked all the time up to it. Then you get to go on unemployment for the 2 months while you're there, and you get that right away. As well as if you're traveling to school, they give you a living away from home allowance as well. So for the most part, you do get taken care of, even if your employer doesn't cover your tuition, which again is very minimal when you're comparing it to other post-secondary educational facilities. So like I said, it varies from employer to employer. I know for us, it was a matter of when we had a deal with our guys that if they stayed on after a year, we would reimburse them their tuition. It was a little bonus for sticking with us.
So I've also kind of heard that apprentices, are they relatively, those positions kind of hard to get? Like not all employers are willing to take on apprentice. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of training. Are those positions kind of challenging for young people to get, or?
Yeah, and that depends on the employer's philosophy. For us, we built our company on apprentices. We believed in training our guys in the guardian way, is the way we described it. And so initially, all of our employees essentially had been an apprentice and had worked through our program and it became journeyman by working with us. Other people, you're right, it is work. It is starting at the bottom every time and training people. And so it isn't a shoe-in. You're not going to necessarily just drop it off and say, hey, I want to be an apprentice, hire me. And what I've had actually recommended to us, and we've had guys come in when we weren't hiring, and they said, I will work for you for 2 weeks and you don't have to pay me anything. I just want to show you what I can do and prove to you that I'm a valuable asset to your company. And really at that point, it's like, you can't say no to that. And so we would bring them on, we would take them and they would work. And at the end of it, those types of people have such amazing work ethic that we hired them on and paid them for the week that they volunteered, I guess, for us initially. So just a little, I guess, strategy, because it is tough. You need something to set you apart. If you just decide to drop off resumes and hope that somebody's going to take you on, you're at the mercy of everybody else that's dropping off resumes as well. So you want to do a little something that's going to set you apart from the pack, so that, and at the end of the day, it is what you do on the job. Because now, even though you're being an apprentice and you're going to school, what it boils down to is your work ethic on site. Those other 10 or whatever, 9 months of the year, that was bad math. That's going to really determine where you're going to go and even how your journeyman is going to train you. If you go in with an attitude that I want to learn, I don't know everything, and I really want to be better, your journeyman is going to take more time. But if you go in and every time they try to tell you something, you're like, I know, I already know that. You know what I mean? And there's a good chance they're going to stop teaching. And they're going to just say, okay, you know it all, figure it out on your own. And I've seen that a lot of journeymen can get kind of jaded, and they actually sometimes, I think, almost feel like their job may be on the line with all these new guys coming in. And we've tried to create a culture where we want everyone to be passing it on and building into the next generation, the next crew, and making everyone better. And that's the kind of attitude we teach our journeymen, and I feel like we end up with better apprentices because of it. So
yeah, good tip for the students out there that to get those apprenticeships, got a good attitude and be a go-getter. Really set yourself apart there.
That's right.
So Guardian Plumbing and Heating, you are a plumber. So what are the other types of trades you can get into? Like is HVAC, refrigeration, is this all different types of avenues people can go?
Yeah, so plumbing is a trade that needs to have its own license, and gas fitting. Those are two, although you often get them together, they are two separate trades. HVAC, so the heating and ventilation, air conditioning, it's a separate trade. They often will have an R for refrigeration endorsement, and you do need to have your own ticket for that specifically. There's also a sheet metal ticket that you can get, a journeyman sheet metal worker for doing the fabricating the ductwork and stuff like that. And then often, you know, you'll see electricians, again, that's a separate ticket as well. Now, it's funny because some of them, and I find that plumbing specifically overlaps a lot of them because we end up having our gas tickets, we end up doing a lot of HVAC type work. And it's trained in the classes, and you will fix furnaces and rooftop units and different things like that with your plumbing ticket. So there's a bit of overlap on some of the trades, but there is specific ones that you do need to have if that's all you're going to go and do.
Okay. So I guess, how did you get into this field?
Well, I kind of grew up in it. My family, there's 6 kids in my family, and my dad, he told us one day right off the bat, he said, guys, I can't send you all to university, but I can give you all a trade. He was a journeyman plumber and he had his own business. And so there's 4 boys in my family, and he said, guys, I can give you your journeyman tickets, and you guys can go from there, and you can go to university, you can do whatever you want, but this is what I can offer you, and this is what I can do. So right off the bat, I think I was probably about 10 years old when I started doing inventory for my dad, and like he tells the story, he used to have to take a diaper bag with him when he would go to the wholesalers. And so basically I kind of grew up in the industry. It's always been a part of what we do. My dad was a home-based plumbing and heating company, so everything was at home. He did everything there, and we were all involved. So as soon as I graduated from high school, I already had enough hours to go to school. So the first open opportunity to get into trade school, I jumped on it, and I was able to complete my apprenticeship very, very quickly. And I was not 20 years old yet when I got my journeyman ticket and was able to kind of move from there. So yeah, so basically grew up in it. It's always been kind of part of our family, and I love being able to solve problems and utilize the skills that we've been given to help people and go from there.
So you own Guardian with your one brother. You said you have 4 brothers. Do you, all 4 of you own it together, or just with the one brother?
Just my one brother, Joey, and I own it together. My other 2 brothers, one is a journeyman plumber and gas fitter as well, and he did work for us for quite a while, and he actually took a new opportunity with kind of a different avenue where he could use his ticket outside of what we normally do. And my other brother started his apprenticeship, and in the end, he decided it wasn't the direction he was going to go, and he ended up moving to Edmonton and doing something different. So yeah, just Joey and I own it at this point, and my dad actually works for us now. And we call him kind of our special projects and dad. And so he's all about, he bleeds what we do, and he loves being a part of it, and he's super proud of everything that we do. And he is our biggest advocate. He'll go out and just talk to people and make sure that they understand what we can offer. And he's like I said, our biggest fan and our biggest cheerleader out there. So
good. So after years, you said you got your journeyman very young, and after years, you're now a business owner. You own Guardian. So yeah, you probably aren't doing the actual, plumbing work anymore. I'm assuming you're more so now sitting in the office. So what does your job more now entail?
Yeah, so the neat thing about having a journeyman ticket is it allows you to own a company. Essentially, it doesn't mean that you're going to be very good at that. Part of growing into this industry has meant I've had to do some additional training on business side of things. I could have taken other courses. I did it the hard way, kind of the school of hard knocks, learning by making mistakes and growing from that. So yeah, my day-to-day is often revolves around marketing, budgeting. I am a big part of the strategic planning. I like to be able to find new ways to be able to serve our customers and be able to solve the problems that they have. There's so many things out there that we see as an issue and customers don't fully understand it. So it's my job to find ways to creatively bring those solutions to them and make sure that they see them and they can figure those out and solve the problems that sometimes they don't even know they have. So some days I miss being on the tools. I love the problem solving. I love the electronics and being able to solve those problems every day and being with the customers on a regular basis. I love being able to be there and be kind of be a superhero of sorts. I talk about our industry often kind of like an essential service, like being a police officer or fire department. We are there when people's basements are flooding, their sewers backing up, they have no heat. Having no heat is kind of the opposite of having a fire. It means that your house is going to freeze. And, you know, when we had that minus 40, minus 50 there for a while, we had guys working all night long. And they weren't going to be able to wait till the next morning because it would have caused a lot of problems, a lot of issues. So, yeah, I sometimes miss that stuff. I think sometimes I have to run out and solve problems too, but most of my tools have been acquired by all my guys. And so sometimes I'm not as effective because I'm just not set up the same way that they are now. So they've got great trucks and they're all set up and we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tools on those vans that are there to help customers and make sure that they can solve the problems when they get there.
So what's the average day like for one of your employees? They get a job, they go out to the site, they fix the problem. Is that just kind of the standard day?
Yeah, so the neat thing is that there's kind of, in our business, in our company specifically, we have two sort of technicians. We have the construction technician. They will go build things and they'll do your new house, they'll install a new furnace for you, that type of thing. And so they come in, they get their assignment, they'll load up for their jobs. They'll check with the customer that they can show up on site or the general contractor. They'll go out, do the work, make up a material list so that we make sure that we know what it's costing us. It's funny. People are like, I didn't sign up for paperwork. I mean, that's a big part of what you'll do as a plumber is take care of doing your paperwork and making sure that all the administrative side of things, your hours, if you want to get paid, you got to make sure you do your timesheet, things like that. They make sure they do all those things. Clean up really well. We always tell our guys that at the end of the job, the place should look better than when they showed up. So sometimes they have to make sure that they take a little extra time at the end of their job to make sure that they can do that properly and they head home. And for our service guys, same sort of day, we all meet together. We do a little bit of training in the morning. We talk about the day before to make sure that there's no things that we need to work on as a team. We always, in our company, we specifically say the strength that we have is because we have a group of us and not one of us knows all the answers, but as a team, we're able to solve any problem that comes at us. And so we take a lot of time to train and to go through those things. And our service team meets every day, but then we have a long meeting on Wednesdays to go over extra things. They get their assignments. And now our service team, we do a lot of communication training too, because they're the ones that need to have conversations with customers and everything that we do, we actually price out ahead of time. So the customer's fully aware of what they're in for. And we have done this where we failed this in the past and not been able to communicate as well with the customers. So we spend a lot of time with our guys, helping them to have the tools to be able to let the customers know. And their technical training is only probably 50% of what is important, because our customers, you can be the best technician in the world, but if you can't communicate to the customer the problems and be able to explain to them the solutions well, they're not going to appreciate it, what you have to offer, no matter how good you are technically. So we have something we call the wow experience. We want our customers to be raving fans. And so it's a bit of almost a competition in our office to be able to provide that extra level of service so that we get that great feedback from our customers saying that our technicians did an amazing job. They took care of them. They went over and above. They didn't feel like they were being sold to. They felt like they were being given solutions to solve the problems and being given the opportunity to make those decisions on that end. So like I said, for my service technicians, their technical training is very important. Their communication training is almost more important at the end of the day. So, and at the end of the day, they fix the problem, they solve it, and they do it with the customer's full knowledge. And we even like to bring the customer in and show them what the problem is. If something's sparking out in a spot, or if you can see, we have our latest Guardian Angle. We do these little, not do it yourself, but little informational videos. And I have a little thumbnail on the one side. It shows this one heat exchanger on a furnace where you can actually see the flames from in the chamber burning into the area where it's pushing around their house. And so you bring a customer and you show them some of the things, it brings a whole lot more value, and it shows that you actually know what you're talking about. So.
Well, good. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to try to keep all of our sessions under 20 minutes, so we'll wrap it up. But thank you so much, Blaine. See you later.
Yeah, thanks, Serena.